If your Southern family has deep roots in America that date back to around 1670, there's a good chance that your ancestors passed through Charleston, South Carolina on their way to the interior of the new country. Members of your family may have also settled down in Charleston or elsewhere in the colony, like the upstate. Before that time, many European immigrants arrived in Jamestown or elsewhere in the Chesapeake Bay. It's hard to overstate the significance of Jamestown as a port of entry for many of us who call Appalachia and or the South home. In fact, would you believe that there are an estimated 30,000 people alive today who descend just from John Rolfe and Pocahontas? So as a whole, colonial Jamestown descendants likely number in the hundreds of thousands, if not millions. When it comes to immigrants in Charleston, the number would eclipse those figures by a wide margin. While my mother's paternal Voyles line passed through Charleston on their way to the Carolina and Tennessee mountains, members of the family stayed in Charleston and are still there to this day. The vast majority of our colonial ancestors were at least nominally Christians, so they wasted little time building houses of worship. Those houses of worship laid the foundation for what would become known as the Bible Belt. While celebrating a Christian heritage is not cool in some social circles, we're going to honor them and that heritage by talking about 5 of the earliest churches established in the South. They're all located in the historic district of Charleston, South Carolina. I hope you'll join me. Charleston sits on, well, Charleston Harbor, about halfway down the coastline of South Carolina. The city was founded in 1670 and was named after Charles II, a grandson of King James of Great Britain and Ireland. In the South, King James Stewart is arguably most famous because of the Bible translation that he authorized and which, of course, bears his name. There ain't no Bible like the King James Bible. If I heard my grandmother say that once, I heard her say 1,000 times. Here's a bit of literary and church history to hopefully whet your appetite. King James authorized the Bible's translation into English in 1604, but the work was not completed until 1611. Now, let's focus back on Charleston. The city developed as a transatlantic port where agricultural crops and enslaved people, unfortunately, were traded and shipped. When the earliest immigrants arrived from Great Britain, the legacy of King James was preserved among the faithful and spread throughout the Upper South, where it became an integral part of the Bible Belt. Charleston, along with Boston, New York, and Philadelphia, were the 4 major ports of entry for European immigrants during the latter half of the colonial era. Aside from Jamestown, a significant portion of ancestors of Southerners and Appalachian folk arrived in Philadelphia or Charleston. From 1670 to 1807, the majority of the people residing in Charlestown were European immigrants or their children. They included English, French Huguenots, Scots, Irish, Germans, and a sizable Sephardic Jewish population. As late as 1830, Charleston's Jewish community was the wealthiest and largest in North America. Today, Charleston is the city's most populous city with 150,000 souls, but it's closely followed by Columbia, the state capital. Even as late as 1677, a century after the Protestant Reformation, major Protestant denominations were forming in the British Isles. And I include Ireland in that. So if you're in Ireland, please forgive me for saying British Isles. It's typical lexicon in America that they would understand. It's usually Great Britain and Ireland if you're over in Europe. The historic statement of faith for the newly forming Presbyterian churches in Ulster in Scotland was written between 1646 and 1647, and the Baptists adopted their first statement of faith in 1677. Fresh off their transatlantic journeys, arriving immigrants from Europe established faith communities in what is today known as the historic district of Charleston. Indeed, there are 5 thriving churches in the historic district that are traceable to congregations established in the 1670s and 1680s. Let's talk about them now. First, the Circular Congregational Church was established in 1681 by English Congregationalists and later joined by Scots and French Huguenots. That union lasted until 1731 when 12 Scottish families left to form First Scots Presbyterian Church, which we'll talk about in a couple of minutes. While the split was amicable, friendly in other words, there were some serious theological issues at the heart of the schism. It was not the first, nor will it be the last schism in the church over tensions between conservative and liberal camps. The current Romanesque style building, which houses the congregation, was completed in 1891. It's now a congregation within the United Church of Christ and is today one of the more liberal church bodies in the world. So going against the theological grain by accepting more and more of the values and ways of life in the secular world is not new as circular congregational church. Number 2, First Baptist Church was founded in 1682. It's the oldest Baptist congregation in the southern United States. Its current Greek Revival sanctuary was built in 1822. The congregation is happy to celebrate America's 250-year anniversary as well as its own 345 years of serving the Great Commission. The Baptist Church, contrary to the assumptions of many believers, was not organized as a church body by John the Baptist, although John certainly gave us the sacrament of water immersion or baptism. As a church organization or polity, it was started in 1609 by John Smith, an exiled Englishman who was living in Amsterdam, that's over in Holland. The denomination was barely 70 years old when Charleston's First Baptist Church was established. I might as well mention a couple more dates in the history of the English-speaking church. After spending time in Amsterdam, Thomas Helwys brought the practice of believer baptism to London, England in 1612. Roger Williams, who had previously identified as a Puritan in Massachusetts, was excommunicated by Puritan leaders and moved to what would become Providence, Rhode Island. It was there that he established the first Baptist congregation in America. Today, First Baptist Church in Charleston is a congregation within the Southern Baptist Convention. Number 3, St. Phillips Church. It was founded in 1680 and is the oldest congregation in South Carolina and the first Anglican congregation established in the South, further south in Virginia. The current building was constructed in 1838. In 1789, the Episcopal Church broke away from the Church of England, or the Anglican Church, following the American Revolution and the Constitutional Convention in 1787. The war itself raged from 1775 to 1783. And since the monarch of Great Britain is the head of the Church of England, it wasn't politically tenable for an American church body to be controlled by an adversarial authority, such as the monarch. Number 4, French Huguenot Church. It was established in 1687 by French Protestants fleeing religious persecution following the revocation of the Edict of Nantes in 1685, which had granted Protestants a degree of religious freedom. While in the 17th century France was a Christian country, it was deeply immersed in Roman Catholicism. Consequently, persecution of Protestants, primarily followers of the French theologian and reformer Jean Calvin, who is better known in the English-speaking world as John Calvin, augmented the small community of original 45 French Huguenots who first arrived in 1680. Today, the congregation is independent and not subject to the governing body of anything, synod or a larger denomination. However, they are rooted in the Reformed faith and share historic and theological links with conservative Presbyterians. Their lovely Gothic revival structure that we see today was built in 1845. Number 5, First Scots Presbyterian Church was officially formed in 1731 when 12 Scottish families broke away from the White Meeting House, which is where the Congregationalists were meeting. It was also their church home since 1681, by the way. They called their congregation the Presbyterian Church of Charlestown. Their break from the White Meeting House by the Scots' desire to abide by the Westminster Confession of Faith that was hammered out between 1646 and 1647 at Westminster Abbey. Had Charleston's Scottish families established their own church in 1681, they would have beaten Reverend Francis McCamey's Rehoboth Presbyterian Church of Somerset County, Maryland by 2 years to become the oldest Presbyterian church in America. At any rate, the Charleston congregation was later called the First Scots Presbyterian Church. No doubt millions of Americans can trace their ancestry to the docks located on the shores of Colonial Charleston Harbor. Based on the locations and historicity of 5 of the oldest churches in Charleston, I'm confident that this gorgeous, modest-sized city is the gateway to the South and the Bible Belt. If you haven't visited Charleston in a while, do your family a favor and spend a few days or even a week there. It will bless your soul and renew your mind. Thanks for joining me today. I look forward to seeing you again here on The Vantage Point. God bless you and yours. Bye-bye.